Back again with another episode of Ass Pops. I am your boy, Big Bro War, and
Pops.
all right, and we back again, man. So the first conversation we had, man, was really dope. Pop dropped a lot of jewels, and we back to do it again, man. So also too, I think we mentioned in the last episode that Pops has a book coming out real soon. You want to tell them a little bit about your book?
Yeah. The book is entitled "The Measure of a Man's Dreams, Goals, and Reality," and we all have dreams from when we were kids. Then once we get older, we kind of put some goals in place. But the most important part is once you're grown, are you okay with the reality that you're living in now? So the book deals with that. It's a book that's not going to make you great. It's not one of these big motivational books where you're going to climb the highest mountain, swim the deepest sea, but it will help you to be a normal, average man good. It teaches you how to do normal really, really, really good. And that's what all men need. I mean, we reach for things that we know we're not going to ever have in life. But the fact that we reaching for them makes us feel good. But sometimes we got a family, we got responsibilities, and we need to know how to do normal really, really good. So my book, The Measure of a Man's Dreams, Goals, and Reality, helps you in that area. I think it's a good book.
Oh yeah. And just from a couple of the excerpts, man, there's definitely some real day-to-day living application, things that you can think about, things that you can do that will just help, in your everyday life as a man. So speaking of that, we're gonna get into some of these manhood questions. So what would you define manhood as? What's your definition of manhood? And I know that's a broad statement. Can you try to condense it to simply in a few sentences?
All right.
What
when
is
I
manhood
think about manhood, if I see it from my perspective, I would be doing a lot of other men injustice, because a man that's in prison would see manhood totally different from the way a monk would see it. Totally different from a man that's a family man would see it. Totally. Right. So manhood to me is not just doing a particular thing, but I think it's the person.
Yeah.
I think a real man is a man that's kind and loving, conscious. I think manhood requires you to be an example of everything, everybody around you. And it's not necessarily hard, but if you got to protect a loved one, manhood is hard.
Yeah.
If you have a child that's struggling in school and needs help with their homework, manhood is being able to sit there and do what you can do. So manhood is always situational, I think. I don't think it's one big answer. I think it has to be where you're able as a man to adapt to whatever situation that you're dealing with. And when you walk away from that situation, that person is saying, I'm glad you were here. So that's my definition, because I got people at the gym that lift weights. Manhood to them is after that hour and a half workout.
I'm benching 500 pounds.
That's manhood. And they want to represent that in the shirts that they can't fit in. And all of that. You take a business person. I worked at a law firm for many years. Not an attorney, but just running the office. Is that for them, manhood is, can I win this trial? Because that's what I'm expected to do. I'm the man in the office now. And everything is situational. But I think it's a broader sense in that you're able to bring your man wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, your protection, your provision to whatever that situation. And if you're able to accomplish that, then you're a man in that situation.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily being the man in the situation, but being a man in the situation. Because a lot of times there's this big, huge thing about alpha male, beta male,
I'm a Sigma, by the way. And I know whoever's listening, they're going to go and say, okay, what's the secret? Right. Look it up. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that was good, man. And then you have, the red pill, and then you have drizzle. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's so many of these, even in this social, media driven world that we live in nowadays. There's so many expressions and so many images and voices of supposed manhood, like you said. But at the end of the day, I like the definition that you gave. Manhood is situational, and the essence of what a man brings into that situation to affect that situation is what manhood really is.
And it's from one extreme to the other.
Yeah. One extreme, you have to be the protector, which is what we all feel we should do.
Exactly.
But then on the other hand, if you're dealing with your kids, if you're dealing with your woman, it's not necessarily all about the rah. You have to be able to be emotionally present, emotionally aware enough to deal sensitively with that's maybe certain situation in those instances.
That's the best I can do with that question.
Yeah. Hey, that's a perspective I have not heard.
Yeah.
But it's one that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense. So let me ask you this. So growing up, who were the men in your life, and what things did you learn from?
I would say there were three men that affected me.
Okay.
My dad, first of all, showed me the man that I was never going to be, did not want to be, didn't have a desire to be. Okay. I think his name was Mr. McCoy. That was the one in the hood with the family.
Okay.
With the wife and 2 daughters and son.
Right.
He showed me what a man or what manhood could be.
Okay. So is that in terms of like being a family man?
Being a family man, yeah.
Okay, present in the house.
Present in the house.
Okay.
And then it was my stepfather, Roosevelt, showed me the man that I wouldn't mind being.
Yeah.
Because, he was just a very mild-mannered man, very calm man, He paid his bills, he was always around. He always helped me and helped you. He was always available.
Yeah.
And when we found ourselves not having a car or a broke down car, he was immediately right there to help us out.
Yeah, he was a mechanic.
Yeah.
Mechanic.
So those were the only 3 men that I could say really affected my life, because I didn't see anybody that was like a role model. I take that back. I saw TV, they were role models, but like a happy family kind of thing.
Right.
You saw the Jeffersons, you saw the Cosby Family, you saw Living Single, all those kind of shows, and My 3 Sons, and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. But to me, again, that was just actors.
Back in the day, Brady Bunch.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch and all those.
That stuff, yeah.
But I could not really. You in your heart, you say, man, I would like to experience that.
Yeah.
But in real life, when you turn the TV off, it was just 3 people that really helped me there.
Okay. And so, what would you say is? Would you say that? How did that impact your understanding of manhood in your early adult years, like your teenage, like 15, 16, to your early 20s?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to be married.
Okay.
Even being in the band and all of that, I always saw a lot of couples, but very few married couples. Okay. And the couples I saw were not really happy couples.
So I hate to take a tangent here, but okay. So and my image of those older days is that there were a lot more marriages. So, because statistically they say there were more marriages then than there are today currently. And the marriages lasted longer. There was a higher success rate of marriage back in those days as opposed to now.
True.
But you're saying that you saw a lot of couples, but not a lot of married couples.
Yeah.
So was that just in the areas that you were exposed to, or was that just in our communities, or was that as a whole with what you saw?
See, the statistics were for the people on the other side of the tracks.
Okay.
There were not a lot of black statistics back during that time.
Okay.
So when I had my very first job at 15, where I would get on the bus and ride to Miles Park, which was a very influential community.
Yeah.
And everybody in that whole sphere of things, they were always married.
Yeah.
Everybody.
So just for reference, Myers Park is a very like influential, a lot of money out there, old money.
Yeah.
Here where in North Carolina.
Yeah.
They're and been around for a long time, is a part of the historic part of town, but old money.
Yeah. And so growing up in the hood, you saw a lot of baby mamas.
Okay.
You saw a lot of relationships, but again, very few of them were married. And it was normally like the woman actually had the house or the apartment, and the man just living with them.
Okay.
That was my experience of male-female relationship.
Okay.
But like I said, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be married. Not only did I want to be cared for as a kid, I wanted to be able to have a child that I cared for. And a woman that I care for. Even in the midst of all of that, there was in the back of my heart those things that drove my manhood, and I made myself a promise. When I got married, I would never be my father.
Yeah.
And then I ended up marrying your mom, and we had a just amazing relationship. It was good, and right today, although we're not a couple, we just still laugh and talk, and because it was a good relationship raising good kids.
Yeah.
And that's what we really need more of. And that was my driving force back then.
Okay. Awesome. So let me ask you this. Have you seen I know we have your definition of manhood, but like I said, in this social media driven world, all of these definitions that we're hearing today, do you feel like there was a different quality of man back then and a different understanding of what manhood was back then as opposed to today? Are there any differences that you see?
I think because of the time, men, 90% of them had to actually do physical manual labor.
Okay.
You had a few that were actually like attorneys and doctors, but generally speaking, the mass majority actually work a 9 to 5. So their definition of manhood was going out, providing a living for my family and those kinds of things. In today's environment where we've got social media, the definitions of manhood are given to us. From the entertainment industry, manhood is given to us. If you have this, you're a man. In sports, especially in sports, it is so big in sports that our young youth, the boys, are really trying to pattern their lives after somebody that they'll never, ever meet. Ever. But they try to play like them. They try to dress like them. They try to act like them. So in their definition, that is the man that they're aspiring to be. So it's totally different from night and day than the way it was when I grew up. And life was easier for kids. Although we got in trouble, we did things wrong. But today there's so much social media that we could lose a kid just with this. So it's different.
Yeah, definitely a lot more exposure to a lot more, like you said, with so many voices in their impressionable ears. It's like, and what's really force fed down their throats a lot of time, just by marketing and trying to sell us a bunch of stuff.
Psychologically, they have, but it's
So like you were saying, they look up to the athletes, they look up to the entertainers, the movie stars, when at the same, as what success is, and as what being a man is, or being a woman is. But at the same time, you have all of these very successful, as I like the term you put it, normal. You got doctors, you got lawyers, you got scientists, you have veterinarians, you have you know, the trades, people that have their own business, entrepreneurs that are just as, you know, comfortable as far as life and quality of life. You know, they you know, make good money, have good lives, you know, drive nice cars, do all of those things that aren't necessarily propped up as an example for the youth to follow.
They are even more beneficial to the community, but not equally recognized.
Perfect.
And again, it's by design.
Yeah.
And so my thing is, even with dealing with men and writing the book, it didn't start out to be a book. It started out me journaling because I journaled. I've been journaling probably about 15 years, maybe a little longer. And my journaling was because going through so many things, even in married life, you deal with challenges and things. And I had a high pressure job at the firm. I needed to have a way to vent. Because I didn't really have male friends that I could chop it up with and talk to. So I would just journal. And all of the journaling over the years turned into the book. And I said, now if it could help me, what I'm reading and writing, it has to be able to help other men that's dealing with some of these same challenges. Even simple things like, they don't even go to the doctor. Men are afraid. You know what I'm saying?
I sleep it off.
But those are simple things that will add to us as an individual. You know, and it's those kinds of things that really cause me to even get into the book and get into who I am as a man and that kind of thing.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So let me ask you this. So when you say, you know, that manhood is situational, okay, how does that translate? And just I want some specifics from you, maybe an example if you have one. An example of how being a protector, translates into being a man in the household, as a father, or and as a husband. Doesn't necessarily have to be from the physically protective role, but from any other example of what a protector would look like.
Well, I don't have. I'll give you a good one. Your youngest sister, Cynthia, you know, there was a time when she went through a particular situation, and I felt like as her dad, I needed to be a part of that. So because of that situation, I was willing to do whatever I had to do, down to the core of just gut wrenching, on my knees violence to handle the situation. And I was really ready to do that because that was my job. And there are other times, and I'll use your same sisters, is that as they were growing up, I felt like I needed to know them individually. So I would have date nights with them individually. Because we would always do things together. We would eat together, go to church together. Everything was a together thing. And I felt like I needed to start separating. Even with you, I would take you to the studio. You know, because I felt like you needed to be in a space where you could really see your dad in a different light, other than working all the time. And even with the girls, I wanted to get them out so they could kind of get the feel of, okay, what does it mean to go out? What does it look like to see other people in the restaurant? Which is a totally separate thing from the protector part. So manhood is being in a situation where when you finish that, whatever that situation is, it was good for you to have been there to do what it was you did.
But you know what, even as you were saying that, I could see how that would be a part of being a protector in the lives of, you know, your daughters, is because you're protecting them from the wrong guy in a way, as far as you're giving them the understanding of how they should expect to be treated, and what is proper in the way that they're treated by someone that they may be dating, or you know, whatever that case may be, instead of kind of like, you know, somebody that treat them like trash. And like you say, you know, the example that you saw of, you know, your dad, you know, being physical, you know, with grand or whatever, and to where it's kind of like, okay, well, I want to protect you from ending up with that type of person. So let me show you the way you're supposed to be treated. Yes. You make your own choices.
Yeah.
But as a father, I'm showing you your worth, your value, how a man is supposed to treat you. And I feel like even again, like psychologically, that is like a sort of a protector, sort of a role. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So let me ask you.